We acknowledge the existence of physical, emotional, and sexual abuse, as well as neglect and exploitation. These abuses negatively impact physical, social, emotional, and behavioral well-being of children at times with long-term consequences. 2, appreciate the mission of safeguarding as a gospel imperative. We are cognizant that safeguarding is deeply rooted in Scripture. Therefore, the Scriptures, God is depicted as defender of the weak and vulnerable, always seen to care for those in need. In the New Testament, Jesus underscores this in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 19, verse 13 to 14, in the Gospel of Mark, chapter 10, verse 13 to 14, and in the Gospel of Luke, chapter 18, verse 17, where he rebukes his disciples for preventing children from approaching him, declaring that the kingdom of God belongs to those with childlike faith. Catholic social teaching further reinforces this, emphasizing that every person created in God's image has a right to protection. 3, state that safeguarding is both an individual and collective responsibility. Individually, everyone is called to care for the vulnerable among us. We have been entrusted by God the divine mandate to be co-creators with Him, helping to breathe life and hope among all of God's creation. Collectively, as families, communities, and particularly as church, we are called to a prophetic mission to exemplify God's love and care in an increasingly difficult world characterized by human suffering. Safeguarding must not therefore be viewed as an administrative mandate for a few officers and persons. Everyone has a duty to care. Following our deliberations, we recognize and admit that although we have made strides towards actualizing commitments to safeguarding, there are gaps that still exist. We have institutions, seminaries included, that do not have policies for safeguarding, nor dedicated offices for safeguarding. It is not clear whose overall responsibility it is for safeguarding. There is need to continually improve the capacity of our pastoral workers to prevent, detect, and appropriately respond to abuse. The church has at times fallen short of the expectations and failed to live up to her prophetic call to be a safe haven and a first responder in instances of abuse. We therefore recommend the following. 1, harmonization of policies, standards, and procedures for safeguarding. We call on national conferences and dioceses within our region to harmonize policies and enhance accountability structures for safeguarding. We encourage all our seminaries in the region to embrace safeguarding as an integral part of vocational discernment and preparation for priestly ministry. Seminarians who are well grounded and committed to issues of safeguarding will play a key role in shaping how the church lives her prophetic missionary call of responding to the plight of children and vulnerable adults. We recommend the national conferences and dioceses to formally mandate the seminaries to mainstream safeguarding, including formal content, appointment of safeguarding focal persons. We urge all conferences to allocate resources for safeguarding work in seminaries. 2, on capacity improvement for future clergy and other pastoral agents. Seminaries bear a profound responsibility in forming future priests. Seminarians under formation today will not only serve as future priests, but also as mentors, leaders, and influencers of policies. Seminarians need to internalize safeguarding principles, not just intellectually, but in their hearts. We therefore urge all national conferences, especially at this critical time that they are reviewing the Ratio Fundamentalis Nationalis, to integrate safeguarding into the formal, non-formal, and informal dimensions of the seminary curricula. In addition, we recommend that all formators in the seminaries should be well grounded on issues of safeguarding to ensure openness and dialogue between seminarians and formators. 3, a radical shift from policy to implementation and practical day-to-day living. Over the course of the time, since the launch of the AMESEA regional guidelines for safeguarding, there has been a great attempt to ensure national conferences have policies of safeguarding. However, the question is, beyond the development of policies, do we truly implement them? We urge all pastoral agents in the region to be committed to the policies. Safeguarding, therefore, becomes not a subject or a program, but a personal responsibility exemplified on our day-to-day ethos, values, and ways of life. 4, institutionalization of culture of safeguarding in the seminaries. We acknowledge that our seminarians come from different backgrounds with different realities. We are committed to journey with them to ensure they confront their past traumas and step by step guide them in healing. This will help to ensure their physical, mental, emotional, and social well-being is well taken care of. All efforts should be made to ensure that safeguarding forms part of the curriculum for all seminaries and other formation houses. We urge seminaries to create safe spaces for dialogue between seminarians and formators. This would complement existing programs such as spiritual direction. 5, establishment of safeguarding desks for listening and promotion of safeguarding work at the seminary level. We urge all national conferences to establish an independent safeguarding desk for every seminary with a reporting mandate to the conference. We ask the national conferences to develop a clear plan for the implementation of activities that promote a culture of safeguarding at the seminary level. In collaboration with the Memorare Initiative, seminaries and seminarians should have access to Memorare centers. 6, continuous formation and accompaniment for young priests and other pastoral agents. We urge all members of the clergy to offer continuous support, accompaniment, and support to the young priests to reinforce values learned during formation, therefore helping them to remain grounded in their commitment to safeguarding. There is also a need for continued formation for formators on safeguarding, especially to those they are entrusted to. In conclusion, the church remains a beacon of hope in society, uniquely positioned to promote safeguarding due to its mission to reflect a loving and protecting God. We will not relent in this responsibility. By prioritizing the vulnerable, the church can heal society and foster conversion, ensuring that children and the vulnerable adult are protected and valued. We spell out our commitment to uphold the highest possible standards of safeguarding in our seminaries. We are committed to producing future priests who have a foundational commitment to safeguarding and to safety and well-being of all, especially children. God bless you all. Read on behalf of the delegate by the Right Reverend Alex Lodiong Sakor, Bishop of the Catholic Diocese of Yei, South Sudan. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Your Lordship. Do you have questions from the members of the press?
Thank you very much. My name is Nicholas Waigwa from SCI Africa. ACI Africa is a news agency of EWTN in Africa. My question is, one, on data. It's good to hear that the church is acknowledging that, yes, there is abuse. But do we have numbers that, especially in the region, that we can talk about? How grim is the situation? Number two, I appreciate that this is mainly focusing on seminaries, but we also have the women religious who also go through formation houses. Do we have anything around safeguarding, especially on the women religious? We have seen incidents recently which may probably require attention. Thank you.
Yeah, maybe I have bishops here and also some of the staff of the Secretariat will be able to give some answers in case we have not given all the answers possible. With regard to data, I think in the presentation that we had these days, we have seen a number of data about abuse cases in Africa. Of course, as you know, abuse is a broader topic. It's not something just limited to sexual abuse as it was known from the time we came to be involved in these things. But there are certainly data of abuse of children in our region and above all in Africa. We cannot give you now the data because we need to have the texts. But the data were given to us here during the workshop. So if you were here, probably you would have gotten those data, at least the one that were presented. And if you are not here, you can ask our Secretariat. They will give you the data that you need. And number two, certainly this is particularly meant for the context of the seminary, this conference. But I believe it trickles down even to formation houses, of religious men and women. And I'm quite sure if there is need also to organize a specific conference of this kind that targets only, religious houses of formation, certainly it will be done. And I think the Secretariat of our Messiah region is taking note of that. Thank you so much.
My name is Francis from Bayard Publication.
Just to complete what my Lordship has said about data and also about training of women religious. The first is that we want to encourage the media to go beyond sensational information. The training of leadership in the church is a long-term process. Awareness is the first level, and the question of data is about awareness. And the kind of awareness that we need has to also be an awareness that is brought to seminaries, because that is one of the biggest spaces where we train leadership. And any small light that is shed into the issue of safeguarding is very important. So we are begging also that journalists help us to carry out this message, because it is not, one hand cannot tie a broom, we know that. And there is also work going on in parallel to this one. We know that the Association of Sisterhood of Kenya, they carry out trainings. Akweka, they carry out trainings. And JCAM collaborates with all these groups to train also women religious. So the issues that we are seeing at the level of religious congregations are not left behind. But the light that has been shed here is about the training of young men who will also become leaders in the church tomorrow. Thank you very much.
Francis from Bayard. Mine is probably, I would like to know how the MSA is helping the survivors of abuse towards their journey of reconciliation, and probably what will be your message to Christians who look out for the church for matters to do with guidance and safety. Thank you.
I will give the chance for the bishop to respond, and probably one of the staff from the Secretariat can give a response.
I think when you talk about a Messiah, we are here as part of that, representing a Messiah, and I think it's coming from the concern of the entire Messiah region to take care of those who are vulnerable, taking care of children, young people, and all that. I think that is the main concern, and that it is an issue which is all embracing. It's all embracing. Embracing the territory itself, called the Messiah, where we are coming from. And the church is very much concerned. We are just as strong as we take care of those who are vulnerable, those who are weak. And who are weak? The weakest are really the children. And I think that's where all of us are involved. Ensuring that, the abuse cases that are found in our local churches and in the church at large are seriously tackled, and we fight hard to ensure that probably tomorrow there is a huge reduction. And I think that is what we are all trying to do, by learning how to go about it, by preparing ourselves, by ensuring that all of us are involved. I think that's where it is. It's coming out of that concern, to ensure that we fight as much as we can against abuses in the church. The church is there for salvation. And we have to be seen to carry out this kind of mission, very, very important mission, to bring salvation to everybody, especially those who are weak. It is our duty, yes. Today, we are on this level. Tomorrow, we hope we'll be on a higher level, yes. But it is a duty that is not only for us who are here, but for the entire church. Thank you.
I think in addition to what His Lordship has shared, AMESEA Secretariat, in collaboration with the Pontifical Commission for the Protection of Minors, PCPM, is currently rolling out the Memorare Initiative. The Memorare Initiative is a creation of the Pontifical Commission, and it basically aims to do a number of things. One, it aims to give survivors of abuse an opportunity to be heard, an opportunity to be listened to, an opportunity to be responded to in a way that is non-judgmental, in a way that does not re-victimize them, in a way that welcomes them to air their views and to seek the support they need. And beyond being listened to, the Memorare Initiative allows the church to respond by offering psychosocial support to the victims of abuse and survivors of abuse, and any other support that they may need to aid their journey of recovery and healing. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Do we have any other question?
My name is Veronica from Radio Maria. I appreciate that we are doing this for the church, and I would like to know this child safeguarding. How does the church majorly, just slightly explain to us, to the community, how does the church collaborate with other members of the community, aside from the one that he has mentioned, how the church collaborates with the community and other groups to curb the child, to do the child safeguarding, and how you'd like the community to collaborate as well?
His Lordship shared the sentiment that safeguarding and protection is everyone's responsibility. And indeed, as a church, we are alive to that fact, that as a church, we may not be able to reach out every child wherever they are to ensure their safety. But we also appreciate that within the structures of the church, we literally have a presence in almost every village. We have a presence in every level of our administrative levels within our countries. And therefore, what we do as the church is that we create pools of resource persons who have the commitment, pools of resource persons who have the dedication, pools of resource persons who are able to reach out every single household to help us do a number of things. One, identify children who are going through abuse out there in the communities and refer them appropriately. Two, speak on the message of the church and the commitment of the church to safeguarding in the villages in our communities out there, and particularly through our small Christian communities. If you think about the presence of the small Christian communities in our villages, in our local neighborhoods, you would appreciate that if in every small Christian community we have a safeguarding focal person, then technically that means that the church would have the resource to be able to identify abuse as it happens in every one of our villages. And therefore, what we are doing is that as a Messiah Secretariat through the Safeguarding Initiative, we are attempting to link safeguarding through the formal structure into the small Christian communities. And we are advocating that every small Christian community within the region must have a dedicated person who is trained, who is well sensitized, who is prepared to be able to detect, to respond, and to report abuse. And that majorly we see as a church contribution towards the protection of children. And remember, again, as we talk about safeguarding, that the church has a mandate that transcends beyond its boundaries. That the Church of Christ has a call to respond to issues of human suffering all over. And therefore, through the small Christian communities, we are able to position the church to be a fast responder in almost every one of our villages. Thank you.
Yeah, just to complement. You see, when we talk of community, we are actually talking of the church. We are only pastoral agents here. And so when we go from here, we are going to the community to talk to the community, that is the church. And that is the spirit of synod or synodality, that everybody who is a baptized individual is a member of the church and is part of the community. And therefore, this thing is not only ending up with us here. Don't call us church. We are only pastoral agents. The church includes you, even the one who are taking the cameras now. Thank you, sir.
I just want to add something small to what has already been said about how the community can engage with the church, although we are one and the same. Through training, with which George has already pointed out to, we also want to recognize that our communities, our small Christian communities, our church operates in certain social and cultural practices. And through training, these practices are addressed in the view of which of these practices could be harmful, could be abusive to our children, to the gospel values. So we underline, especially for us at Hekima, that in our training, we also focus on what are the communal practices that we need to challenge. And we engage communities to speak to us through the agents that will show up, that will register with us, that, you know, there are practices that we have adopted and we feel that they are part of how we operate. But when we look at them critically, they are abusive. How can we challenge some of the communal or cultural practices through training that can give us a new light on this is not the way to proceed as children of God. This not just promote fullness of life. So this is a way that we are engaging communities also with criticality, with what is acceptable at community level, what is acceptable at cultural level, and what we can call this is what God came to fulfill, the gospel. What does the gospel call us to do? So to have a critical view of what are the communal practices, what are the cultural practices that we could challenge through our trainings and through the safeguarding initiatives that we have. Thank you.
Any other question from this side?
Okay, thank you. This is Stakas Aaron from Radio Waumini. We're talking about safeguarding children, and something has just popped in my mind. building trust. Now, as a Messiah, efforts put in place, someone is asking themselves, how do we build trust itself as a way of safeguarding children and, of course, eradicating abuse? Thank you.
Sorry, I didn't catch the name, but thank you very much for your question. It's a beautiful question, and it is the foundation of gospel values, right? We cannot build trust if there is doubt. If you and I, you cannot be sure that I would provide what I have promised you to provide, then we've lost trust. It is the heart of the gospel preaching itself. And the point, and you have seen the way this workshop has run, the point we have been trying to push forward is to say that we are aware that there are elements, even in the practice of the church, that remove the trust that you are talking about. But we are building trust by starting from the ground up. Building trust at every level of society, paying attention to the most vulnerable, paying attention to the anawim, those who are left on their own account, and nobody has paid attention to them. And that is why I said your question is very important and very urgent for today's world, because the voice of the church is being drowned by multiple other actors, people who are promising a lot to our young people today, but that are not delivering. So the trust is already absent, and that is why small fires like the one we've just lit today become elements of trust, building that new wall that can support everybody. Does that help? Thank you.
Yeah, I think that's what, in essence, building trust means. Like for us bishops, when we sit here, many people are afraid of us. No, this time we don't like you to be afraid, because we are coming to you and begin to be with you. In your capacity, whether you are young, you are old, you are small, we want to be there. And that's synod of synodality. We want to be with our people so that they know that we are their fathers and nobody should run away from us. And our life of example should be the one that helps the trust, to exemplify that trust. We have to become exemplary, live by example. And that is what we were going to try, and we have started to try, and it will be better in the next days to come. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. If you do not have any other question, we'd like to take this opportunity to thank your Lordship and the entire delegation. We are grateful, and I'd like to request the members of the media, once we are through, you register at the desk here, and you're also invited for lunch. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.